Hello everyone, this is Rev Michelle Hopkins. Do you remember when FEMA was carrying out a preparedness drill at a medical facility in Aurora, Colorado, involving a massacre at a movie theater featuring the new Batman movie? And it just so happened that a massacre happened at the theater down the street from the drill at the medical facility. Well, guess what? The United States Congress has passed a bill which mandates the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, to prepare for mass fatality planning, and funeral homes, cemeteries, and mortuaries being overwhelmed in the aftermath of a mass terror attack, natural disaster, or other crisis. The bill, H.R. 6566, or the Mass Fatality Planning and Religious Considerations Act, was posted on the govtrack.us website this morning, having been approved by the House on September 28th. The legislation amends the Homeland Security Act of 2002 to direct FEMA to provide guidance and coordination for mass fatality planning and for other purposes. For other purposes, interesting, which basically gives FEMA carte blanche. Noting the necessity for emergency preparedness in relation to terror attacks, national disasters, and man-made disasters, the bill instructs FEMA to be sensitive to the fact that Jews and Muslims require bodies to be buried within 48 hours of death. I find it very interesting that this act points out Jews and Muslims in particular, that it's warning FEMA to get ready to be prepared for a terrorist attack, and specifically mentions Jews and Muslims. I wonder if there's a false flag on the horizon. I wonder if we're getting ready for terrorist attacks in response to the possibility of Israel attacking Iran with an EMP. I wonder if this is in response to
a particular group. We are trying to protect Americans from any violent extremists, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, any kind.
Funeral homes, it goes on to state, cemeteries and mortuaries could be overwhelmed should mass fatalities arise from a natural disaster, act of terrorism, or other man-made disaster, states the legislation. Should the bill be given the green light by the Senate, the full amended text to the Homeland Security Act will state, the administrator shall provide guidance to and cooperate with appropriate individuals, including representatives from different communities, private sector businesses, non-profit organizations, and religious organizations, to prepare for and respond to a national disaster, act of terrorism, or other man-made disaster that results in mass fatalities. This is just one of the things that makes the stomach turn. The people who brought us the National Defense Authorization Act, authorizing the detention of U.S. citizens on U.S. soil, now deem it prudent to prepare for mass fatalities on U.S. soil. This was written by Simon Black. Now, FEMA, as you may recall, is the same organization that couldn't get bottles of water delivered to New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina, and held up hundreds of seasoned volunteer emergency service workers and food and preparations and provisions, by the way, from entering the city for several days of mandatory sexual harassment training. So it was, for some odd reason, more important for FEMA to train people who would help give food to other people on sexual harassment than it was to actually get the food to sick and dying people. For days on end. The legislation will only serve to stoke more paranoia that the federal government is preparing for mass civil unrest that could lead to a declaration of martial law and require legal force to be used, as it was during Hurricane Katrina, when police were ordered to shoot looters. And I would add, there was much said and much proof given and many stories told about police and military men, people who were the National Guard out there, and civilianized military units shooting people on sight. For instance, a group of people were just walking across a bridge, and every last one of them were mowed down by police for no reason whatsoever. People went to the police department where they were located on emergency for help, and those people were beaten and some of them killed. That happened during martial law in the aftermath of Katrina in New Orleans. The Department of Homeland Security has been arming itself to the teeth over the course of the last 6 months, purchasing ammunition in jaw-dropping quantities. As was reported last month, following the controversy over its purchase of around 1.2 billion bullets, that's billion with a B, in the last 6 months alone, the Department of Homeland Security has put out a new solicitation for over 200 million more rounds of ammunition, some of which are designated to be used by snipers. So this bill is mandating that FEMA mobilize for mass fatality planning. I have to wonder what our Congress, what our president imagines in the very near future.